There are evenings in football where a stadium becomes something far larger than a sporting arena. Tonight, the Stade de France is a fault line. Underneath the brilliant lights of Saint-Denis, two entirely different tectonic plates are about to collide, separated by an ocean of sporting reality. In one dugout stands a club on the verge of paradise, a team that has spent the last 9 months playing with a joyous, unburdened freedom to secure a place among European football's elite. In the other dugout stands a burning house, a club frozen in anxiety, completely distracted by a looming existential crisis, yet miraculously standing just 90 minutes away from hoisting one of the most prestigious trophies in the beautiful game. It's not just a cup final, it's a collision of contrasting realities. A meeting between a club experiencing its finest hour in modern memory and an institution desperately trying to remember who it is before the trapdoor opens beneath them. One side plays for immortality, the other has one eye on an escape. A very warm welcome along to Paris. My name is Charlie McGuinness, and whether you are listening to us on the move or at home tonight, you've picked the perfect moment to join our coverage of the 2026 Coupe de France final, as the sun creates golden light across the top tier of this famous stadium. It's hosted the Six Nations, it's hosted the Rugby World Cup final, it's hosted the FIFA World Cup final, and today it hosts these two clubs, the 109th edition of French football's showpiece event. A tournament that strips away league status, budgets and form, leaving nothing but 90 minutes of pure, unadulterated drama. And maybe a little bit more. I'll be taking you through every single kick, tackle and tactical twist on what promises to be an emotionally charged evening of football. The noise cascading down from the stands is already deafening. It's split cleanly down the middle. The vibrant, celebratory gold and red of Lens, and the defiant but desperate red and black of Nice. The last few handshakes of the dignitaries being introduced to the two sets of players continue. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, shaking hands now with representatives of RC Lens. To understand the immense magnitude of what we're about to witness, we must look at the wildly divergent domestic campaigns that brought these two clubs to Saint-Denis tonight. Lens arrive here as the undisputed darlings of the French football season, under the masterful guidance of Pierre Sarge, recently crowned the Ligue 1 manager of the season. Les Sang et Or have put together a truly sensational campaign. They pushed Paris Saint-Germain all the way, finishing as runners-up with 70 points, a mere 6 points off the summit, and comfortably booking their place in next season's Champions League phase. For Lens, tonight is about adding a golden punctuation mark to a near faultless season. However, for Nice, the context could not be more harrowing. This is a club in total freefall. While they have successfully navigated their way to this grand stage, their league campaign has been an absolute disaster. A goalless draw against Metz on the final day condemned them to 16th place finish, plunging Les Gym into a dreaded two-legged relegation playoff against Saint-Etienne to save their top-flight status. The first leg of that survival shootout takes place in just 4 days' time, and with the club's Ineos partner ownership actively looking to sell and investment drying up, Nice are an institution fractured from the top down. Their co-president Jean-Pierre River even went so far as to publicly state that tonight's final is not a priority at all compared to staying in Ligue 1. The underlying narratives tonight are utterly fascinating, and they begin the dugouts. Pierre Sarge has urged his heavily favoured Lens side to bring what he calls the madness to the pitch tonight, fully aware that a cup final can be entirely rewritten by a single dramatic turn of events. Lens have reached 3 previous finals in their history, most recently in 1998, and they've lost them all. Tonight they look to banish those historical ghosts and lift the Coupe de France for the very first time in club history. We'll keep a close eye on their brilliant 21-year-old goalkeeper, Robin Risser, the newly named Ligue 1 goalkeeper of the season. He's just been called up to the French World Cup squad, and amid heavy transfer interest from the Premier League, he wants to cement his legacy with a trophy tonight. Conversely, Nice boss Claude Puel has spent the week playing classical psychological mind games, firmly shifting the weight of expectation onto his opponents. Puel has boldly declared that Lens are the immense favourites, and he says they are obliged to win, attempting to breed a sense of calm within his own troubled squad. For Nice, the romance of the evening belongs to their legendary captain, Dante. At 42 years of age, the wisest and oldest player in French football is retiring at the end of the season. He has openly admitted that Nice face 3 finals this week, and he is fiercely determined to sign off a glittering career by hoisting silverware tonight before steering his club away from the relegation abyss. The official team sheets have been exchanged and both managers have rolled the dice, making sweeping adjustments from their final league games to field matching aggressive 3-4-3 shapes. Let's look at the changes first, because Pierre Sage has flexed his squad depth significantly here. Lens have made 7 changes from the side that cruised to a 4-0 win over Lyon on Sunday. Out of the starting 11 go Gorgelin, Nidal Selic, Haidara, Bulatovic, Masuaku and Sotoka. They're replaced by a returning core of Risser, Janu, Sangari, Thomason and Udall. As for Legime, Claude Puel makes 5 changes of his own from the tense goalless draw with Metz. Diouf, Sanson, Van Hout, Abdi and Budash all drop to the bench. In their places come Dupé, Koulibaly, Boudouai, Bar and Shaw. So how do they actually line up on the grass? For Nice, Maxime Dupé gets the nod between the posts. The 3-man back line consists of Antoine Mendy, the veteran captain Dante anchoring the centre, and Kojo Pepra Opong. Jonathan Klaus and Melvin Bard will provide the crucial width as the wing-backs, flanking a central midfield pairing of Hicham Boudouaoui and Djibril Koulibaly. Up front, it's a dynamic, fluid attacking trio. The dangerous El Yelwahi leads the line, flanked by Mohamed Ali Cho and Sofiane Diop. And now for the pre-match favourites, RC Lens. Robin Risser takes his place in goal. He's protected by a back 3 of Kylian Antonio, Ismaila Gagnou and the experienced Malang Sarr. Saud Abdelhamid and Mathieu Udol will patrol the flanks as the wing-backs. In the engine room is the chief curator, Adrien Thomason the captain, partners Mamadou Sangare. Leading the line for Les Sons et Or is Odsonne Edouard, experienced a renaissance of his career after making the departure from Crystal Palace in the summer. He's supported on the wings by the explosive Florian Thauvin and former Newcastle United winger Alain Saint-Maximin. The two teams come together in their final pre-match huddles. The Coupe de France is just moments away. The talking is officially over. The pre-match pageantry, the fireworks, the pyrotechnics have drawn to a close. The smoke from the supporters' flares drifts up into the Parisian evening sky. A warm night across the continent. It's touching 28 degrees before kick-off here. Jérôme Bressard, the 40-year-old official, has the coin in his hands. Handshakes for a couple of representatives from the French Football Federation onto the pitch here. For the honorary kick-off. It is to be a historic evening, but is it to be a night of glory for one of these two sides? 95,000 fans inside this stadium are on their feet. Their heroes out on the verdant green turf in front of them. It's a place of celebration for France. It's a place that reminds France of their national identity. And for these two clubs, it may well too be a reminder of their own unique sporting character. Is it to be a historic crowning glory for Pierre Sage's revolutionary Lens, or will the defiant retiring Dante lead a broken Nice to a triumph against all the odds. The players are out there. Jerome Brizard has the whistle to his lips. It will be Lens to get us underway. Hudson Edouard hovering over the ball. The countdown is on to kick off in the Coupe de France. And they get underway with the whistle of the referee. Florian Thauvin takes the spot kick. It's all the way out of play, deep inside Nice territory. And an early start for Nice with the ball in their hands. Wearing that iconic black and red kit this evening, Melvin Barr, the 25-year-old wing-back, with the throw-in down the touchline. Back by Thauvin. Picked up on the edge of the box. Little back heel from Hudson Edouard. Maybe an opportunity early on here for Saint-Maximin. Here's Udol into the penalty area. It was nodded away by Badawi. Koulibaly there on the edge of the box as well. Back on the right-hand side for Lens. What a season. They've caught the imagination of French football, even outside of the city itself. Just showing that there really is challenging that PSG monopoly. It's a nervous-looking touch from Kylian Antonio on the right-hand side of that back three to give Nice their first real touch of the ball. Oh, the opening throw. Here's Melvin Barr again. Listen to Oppong. Oppong back to Maxime Dupé, the goalkeeper, with his first touch. Mendy turned forward by Klaus, and maybe an opportunity here for Nice. It was strong defending in the end from Ismailo Gagnou. Got it back to Rissa. They're not afraid to commit bodies forward here, Nice. A free hit. Everything's been pointing in that direction from the Nice camp over the week up to this game. They know they're second favourites and they don't really care. The supporters packed into this stadium, I'm sure, will be desperate to see their side lift this trophy, especially after the season they've had. But the real trophy comes in a few days' time if they are to beat Saint-Etienne in that two-legged playoff. It will, financially at least, be significantly more rewarding than lifting the Coupe de France here at the Stade de France tonight. Dante, long ball forward. And down that left-hand side, chasing after it goes Melvin Barr. Gets there on the corner flag, on the volley. It's dropped to Elia Wahi. 2 goals in the tournament for Wahi. 9 across all competitions. He joined from Eintracht Frankfurt at the start of January on loan. Scored in the DFB Pokal Cup for Frankfurt earlier in the season. He will join Frankfurt again in just over a month's time. He's been an important part of this side, especially this run to the final. The irony of that two-legged playoff against Saint-Etienne in a few days' time for Nice is that they started their path to the final with a 2-1 win over them back in the round of 64. They faced penalties twice against Nantes in the round of 32, and then in the quarter-finals against Lorient. A bit more straightforward against Strasbourg away in the semis. Here's Mendy for Nice. To Dupé. Oppong. It's a loose pass into midfield. It was intended for Mohamed Ali Cho. Maybe a ball in behind here. And the Lens defence slightly stretched. Ismail Gagnou sliding in just to make sure that Elia Wahi couldn't get on the end of it, the Ivorian. Incidentally, in the heart of that midfield for Nice, Djibril Koulibaly, at the age of just 17, making his first appearance in the Coupe de France this season. Has started just 3 games all season. including his starts in the Champions League and Europa League. Hasn't actually started a game in Ligue 1 so far this year. Might change in the playoffs, of course. Nice trying to press high here. Sangare. Thauvin turns down the right-hand side, finds Abdul Hamid, the Saudi Arabian. It's tidy from Nice to get it back to Dupé. Time on the ball inside the penalty area. The referee today, Jérôme Brizard, is his first career Coupe de France final. Today by Alex Salguer and Thomas Lechinski. Fourth official, Hakim Ben El Hadj, and the VAR tonight, Mathieu Venice. Is Klaus on the right-hand side for Nice. Held up by Malang Sarr. Both sides missing a few. For Nice, they are without the services of Moïse Bombito and Mohamed Abdel Monem. As Lens get forward for the first time, Saint-Maximin. No foul, says Jérôme Brizard. The Lens number 9 stays down. It's another hopeful ball forward towards Wahi, played by Mohamed Ali Cho and tied it up by Ismailou Gagnou. Sangare in the middle of the park. Sarr. Robin Risser will almost certainly play second field to Mike Maignan in the French national side. It's almost an embarrassment of riches, that French World Cup squad, isn't it? They have been installed as one of the pre-tournament favourites ahead of the start of the tournament in about 3 weeks' time now. That's crept up on us. You can actually see the challenge now on Saint-Maximin, the replay. He stepped on the ball and lost his footing. Went over his ankle there, and he's hobbling around a little bit. Manager Pierre Sarge, little look of concern, but shouldn't be too serious for the Newcastle United winger. Picked up by Lens inside the Nice half. Saint-Maximin here, but just a bit in behind for Florian Thauvin. Tidy defending on the edge of the penalty area though by Nice. Koulibaly dispossessed. The moment they win the ball, they're always looking for El Yawahi, and so far that's made it pretty easy for Lens to defend against any hopeful Nice attack. The bench tonight features Bartosz Selezowski and Yevan Diouf for Nice, the two goalkeepers. Jumabar and Ali Abdi both defensive cover. Charles Van Hout, Tom Luche, Youssef and Daya Chimier and Morgan Sanson, Karl Budash, Thiago Gouver, Kevin Carlos and Isaac Jansson, the Swede. No place in the squad for Tango and Ndombele. First corner of the evening, it's gone Lens' way. Thauvin. Look for Antonio at the near post. He needs to get the ball away to the edge of the box. Thauvin will keep it moving. Saint-Maximin. Thauvin accelerating down the left-hand side. And that's against Djibril Koulibaly for another corner kick. He's vastly experienced, Florian Thauvin. Started his career with Bastia. He also spent a spell with Newcastle United 10 years ago. So towards the near post, and a good opportunity. It was just taken away from Kylian Antonio initially. A flick on it at the near post. Was there from a defender? No. It's just unsighted there, Kylian Antonio. And to be fair to the teenager Koulibaly, that's good defending. Just used his body as a shield in front of that near post. Dupé's clearance long down the right-hand side. Underneath it, Mathieu Udall. Brave from Koulibaly. Tries to nod it through to Elias Wahi. Does really well. Maybe the first attacking opportunity for Nice here. Bodies searching forward in support. Hicham Boudaoui keeps the ball moving. There's Diop. Bard. And then we'll reset back in the centre circle with Dante. What a career it's been for the 42-year-old. Former Brazil international. Bard's going to win the corner on that left-hand side. Dante will make his way into the penalty area to add to the options. And it's cleared away by Antonio into the penalty area, but that one's going to be latched onto by Robin Risser. Zudol. Space for Sangare. Udall on the left-hand side. Kelsey's crossing towards the box. Oh, Alton Edouard, his eyes were lighting up. It's great defending from Kojo Pepra Opong to flick it over the crossbar, with Alton Edouard waiting to apply the finishing touch. 13 goals in all competitions this season for Edouard. High towards the back post, will drop to Saint-Maximin here. Curled one! It's over the top, but not by much from Alain Saint-Maximin. It just brushes the roof of the net. Aimed initially at the back post at Kylian Antonio. He lost his footing wrestling with the defender. No one had picked up Alain Saint-Maximin. Time to take a touch and try and curl his effort into the top corner. Closest either side have come. While the season hasn't been kind to Nice, this meeting tends to be pretty kind for them. They're unbeaten in 7 of their last 8 meetings against Lens across all competitions, and their most recent was only 20 days ago, a 1-1 draw back at the start of May. That was damaging for Lens' hopes of usurping PSG to the Ligue 1 title. They've only faced each other in the Coupe de France once before. That was back in 1954. And it's another good omen for Nice. A 5-0 win for them that day. Tossed down the right-hand side. Sarr out of play. Nice with the throw-in. It is Lens that do look the more nervous of these two teams. It's going to be a throw-in from the right-hand side. Launched in by Mendy. And there's a good opportunity. Keeper came to meet it, but so did Kylian Antonio. His header was down, and Elia Wahi snatched at the opportunity with an open goal in front of him. Should be the opener for Nice. If he keeps it down, they lead the game. Both Malang Sarr and Kylian Antonio both jumped for the ball. Robin Risser was there as well. He'd come to claim it. There was no pressure on either the defenders or the goalkeeper. Elias Wahi fed off the scraps, and with a bit more composure, that surely would have been the first goal of the cup final. Switch of play out to Udall on the left-hand side for Lens. Here's Saint-Maximin. Thauvin. Thomason to Thauvin. Laid off to Sangare. Will try his luck from a long way out. Dupé went flying away to his right. It's wide of the mark in the end. Just starting to open up a little bit after 15 minutes here at the Stade de France. Dupé probably had it covered. He can't take any chances. Absolutely flung himself across the width of his goal there. They've got technicians across the park, Lens, the ability to do that from pretty much any position. The footwork of Saint-Maximin, the finishing of Odsonne-Edouard, the deliveries of the likes of Thauvin and Sangare, who is yet to score in the competition this season. Not shy of a shot. Dante. Back to Dupé. Dante. Dupé. Boudaoui. Bit of time for Antoine Mendy. He's just 21 years old as well. It's a relatively young Nice side. Jonathan Klaus, 33. Boudaoui at 26. The goalkeeper Dupé at 33, and Dante, of course, at 42. But everyone else in the side, 25 or younger, including two of the centre-backs. They've got quite a role model alongside them. He could be their father, you know. Dante. El Yezwahi, strong defending from Kylian Antonio, just to shepherd him away from the ball. Gagnou. Backhill in midfield, picked off by the Nice midfielders. Sangare it was, but the referee spotted an infringement, so Lens get the ball moving again quickly from the free kick. Saud Abdelhamid. Inside to the Malian, Mamadou Sangare. Square to Sarr. Sarr finds Saint-Maximin, dropping a little bit deeper to get involved. Saint-Maximin tried the trick again. It might bounce all the way through. Edouard trying to bundle his way into a shooting position. He was being wrestled by Dante there, who got the last touch. In another corner for Lens. He just looped up Saint-Maximin's effort off of Djibril Koulibaly. It's really good defending from Dante, just to wrap his leg in front of Odsonne-Edouard, get a toe to the ball and make sure he couldn't get a shot away. Another corner, another chance for Florian Thauvin. Left-footed delivery towards the penalty spot. Drilled in from the edge of the box by Mamadou Sangare. Caught that one cleanly, but the challenge wasn't quite so clean. El Yezwahi goes down. That'll be a free kick for Nice on the edge of the penalty area. Still goalless in the Coupe de France final. As we mentioned, sense of nerves amongst the Lens players. Nice playing with a bit of chaotic freedom so far, as Maxime Dupé stands over this free kick, staring downfield into a sea of yellow and red. One thing that you can guarantee tonight, it will be an atmosphere like few others. It's going to be quite a week of football, isn't it? Odsonne-Edouard slips it through. Alain Saint-Maximin goes past Dupé. Goal left open, but he was forced too wide. And Alain Saint-Maximin can't believe he hasn't opened the scoring. It's brilliant link-up between Odsonne-Edouard and Alain Saint-Maximin. Clever goalkeeping as well by Maxime Dupé, just to force Saint-Maximin to act. It was heading wide, but Kojo Oppong took no chances. It was off him last, and it'll be a corner. Adrien Thomasson from that right-hand side. Kylian Antonio nods it back across the face of goal and hammered from the edge of the box, not for the first time this evening, by Mamadou Sangare. That one's over the crossbar and into the Nice fans behind Maxime Dupé's goal. Brilliant vision from Edouard. Sensed Alain Saint-Maximin breaking forward. He tried to go around the goalkeeper. The touch was just too heavy. Hauling himself back to his feet, Antoine Mendy. Quite a scene from above here at the Stade de France. An explosion of colour across this stadium. Goal kick taken short. Dante. Koulibaly. Klaus. On the half turn was Koulibaly. Edge of the box. Is Sofiane Diop. Took too long to make his mind up. And they'll poke it free now to Thauvin. Dispossessed in midfield by Boudaoui. Here comes Koulibaly. Mohamed Ali Cho. Mendy. Dante. Mohamed Ali Cho. Koulibaly. Finds Klaus. Diop. Melvin Bard on the left-hand side. Many options. Back inside it goes to Hicham Bouadi. Boudaoui, excuse me. Diop. And Robin Rissa didn't see it till very late. Got down low to his left and pushes it past the post. Bobbled to a crowd of defenders in front of him. He had to wait, because in front of him, Kylian Antonio stretched out a leg. He shoveled it round, his left hand upright. A smile at least for the French international to the teenage defender. Set piece here for Nice. Deep towards the back post, Dante! And Rissa holds on to it. What a moment that would have been. Dante at the back post, pure desire. Gets up above Malang Sarr. But it's too close to Rissa. It's low down to his left. Those are always tricky for goalkeepers, but importantly he hangs on to it. That's two really good chances now for Nice that they might rue missing. Sangare. Garnier. Thauvin, right hand side, edge of the penalty area, pulls it back. Sangare, inside right channel, back out to the right hand side. Maybe a cross here from Abdul Hamid. It's swept away though by Mohamed Ali Cho. Kept moving by Sangare for Lens. Udol for Saint-Maximin. Udol gets the ball out of his feet, wraps that straight against Jonathan Klaus, and that'll be another corner. Here comes Florian Thauvin again. Take yet another corner for Lens. Of course, a few problems from these deliveries. Thauvin, a bit too high for Edouard. Here's Wahi on the edge of the box for Nice to try and carry it clear. It's launched away by the Nice defence, looking for Diop, who was trying to get on the end of the clearance, and instead it's Saud Abdul Hamid gets his foot on the ball, and Lens back in possession. Not quite as dominant display as we expected from Lens tonight. Well, they're edging total shots. It's Nice with the more shots on target and possession of the ball as well. Dante out on that left-hand side, lent it to Hicham Boudaoui. To Dupé. Now for Mendy. Mohamed Ali Cho. For Dupé. Dante. Boudaoui. Cho in the middle. Just one into the channel for Koulibaly to chase. And bounce away from him. And Robin Rissa picks it up on the edge of his penalty area. 25 minutes gone. Antonio, back to Rissa. Rissa will look long this time. Floated out towards the left-hand side for Mathieu Udol. Beats Klaus in the air. Udol pulled back to the edge of the box. Thauvin opens to scoring. Florian Thauvin with his third in the Coupe de France this season, and probably his biggest goal. Looked like the chance might have gone as Udol played it back to the edge of the box. But he kept his composure, Florian Thauvin. He's run the length of the pitch to go and celebrate in front of the Lens supporters. And why not? It all started with a long ball from Robin Rissa. Jonathan Klaus has got caught under the flight of it, taken down by Mathieu Udol. It was behind Adrien Thomasson initially. Thauvin moved into the space that Thomasson had vacated. It was a little bit behind Thauvin, manages to drag it along with him and then lash it across goal. Past Maxime Dupé's left hand and into the bottom corner. It's Lens 1, Nice 0, and that settles a huge amount of nerves in the Stade de France tonight. It's almost going to force Nice's hand as well. Still early in the game, but at some point they're going to have to go for it and try and get forward a little bit quicker, leave a few more gaps in their back line. That'll suit Lens. As Alan Saint-Maximin was upended, and Djibril Koulibaly there just went streaking away as he nipped in front of the former Newcastle winger. I think he's tried to pull out of the challenge there, Saint-Maximin. He's pretty lucky not to receive a yellow card. Well, the flares have been lit on half of this stadium, and I have to tell you, it's probably a little bit more than that. I'd say 65 to 70% of this Stade de France crowd are supporting Lens, based on the colours we can see in front of us at least. It's Dante. Boudaoui. Dante again. Mendy. Wahi. Look for the layoff to Mohamed Ali Cho. Forces the challenge from Ismailo Gagnou. Throw-in taken swiftly. Klaus. Mendy. Back to Klaus. Gets his cross in. It's not a bad cross. And it's put behind by Ismailo Gagnou. Robin Rissa appealing for calm amongst the defenders in front of him. It's actually going to be a throw-in, you know. Antoine Mendy launches one towards the penalty spot, and Rissa, his starting position was way off his line. And his towering figure came through a crowd of bodies to hang on to that one. Distribution, that's a little bit denied though. Straight to Dante. Now Koulibaly, laid off by Diop. Here's Boudaoui in the middle. Diop looking for Elias Wahi. Ismailo Gagnou in the way. Wahi with the foul. Free kick for Lens in the right back position. Half an hour gone here. Just 7 wins all season. Across that Ligue 1 campaign, 16 defeats. Rissa. Towards Edouard. And concedes the free kick. Just barging into Opong. Free kick taken by Dante. Mendy. Laid off by Mohamed Ali Cho. Throw to Mendy. Dante. Opong. Diop. Koulibaly. Sangare. Deflection loops up in the air, back down to Sangare. Kylian Antonio fouled there by Melvin Bard, who'd got forward just inside the Lens half of the pitch. It's away to our right. Just left the leg outstretched, hoping to poke it away from the 18-year-old. A defiant response from the Nice supporters. A wall, a flare of fire, of smoke billowing out from that section behind Maxime Dupé's goal. Edouard upended. Thomason there. Back with Adrien Thomason. Udall. Jonathan Klaus rather half-heartedly appealed for that throw-in. So it is taken by Mathieu Udall. Into the penalty area, it bounced off the back of Opong. There's Mendy in fact in there. Son Edouard had just lost sight of it. Sarr and Saint-Maximin. Udall. Sarr to Gagnou in the middle of the park. Forward looking for Thauvin. Ricochets away off Sangare for a Nice throwing out on that left-hand side. Coupe de France final today. It is the very controversial Championship playoff final tomorrow afternoon back in England at Wembley Stadium. A few days ago, that was meant to be Southampton versus Hull. Well, they've been chucked out of that competition, haven't they? Now, Middlesbrough versus Hull. Ramifications of Spygate. Here's Saint-Maximin winning it back inside the Nice half of the pitch. Thomason. Was he caught late there by Jonathan Klaus? He was, according to Jérôme Brissard, the referee. Aston Villa have won the first European trophy of the season. Europa League champions against Freiburg. On Wednesday next week, Crystal Palace look to make some club history as they aim for their first ever continental title against Rayo Vallecano in Leipzig. And then the big one at the weekend, Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain for the Champions League in Budapest. Thauvin delivery punched away by Dupé. Sangare on the follow-up. Again, fired over the crossbar, this time from Saud Abdul Hamid. They're not afraid to take these on from range, Lens, tonight. And after a season like they've had, you can't blame them. At least with the advantage. It was Abdul Hamid just a little bit too overzealous in trying to get there in front of Melvin Bard, who's been left in a heap inside the Nice half of the pitch, and Jérôme Brissard has been forced to stop the game to check on the Nice number 26. Yeah, that's a sore one. It's the trailing leg, actually. His knee just makes pretty firm contact with Melvin Bard's left leg. And the yellow card has been produced by Jérôme Brissard for the Saudi wing-back. The first booking of the evening. I'm sure there was no malice intended from Saud Abdelhamid, but certainly some damage caused. Night has almost descended across the French capital. It was a wonderful day here in Paris. A warm day, a glorious day. This European heat wave creating some less than straightforward conditions across the continent over the past few days. And if you're only just joining us, it's Lens with the lead, and it's Robin Risser once again showing that supreme composure. The 21-year-old, a breakout season for him for Lens. He's been the absolute anchor of their second place finish, obviously, as we mentioned. Ligue 1 goalkeeper of the season, called up to the senior French national team for the World Cup in the United States, Mexico and Canada. Apparently Brighton and Newcastle are heavily linked, but he's been so mature about it. All he says is his mind is made up on making his Champions League debut right here with Lens, but first he wants a winner's medal around his neck tonight. And if he's to keep up this level of performance we've seen so far, he's had to be at his best a couple of times. You wouldn't put it past him, having a glittering career. They say strikers are worth their weight in gold, but if you have a goalkeeper you can trust, it makes life so much easier. And Robin Risser has all the attributes of a goalkeeper to become one of the world's best. Badawi, nice ball, found Klaus, uses his left boot to try and whip it across the face of goal. The flag goes up. I don't think he was offside. Assistant referee flagged quickly. All those flashes for Nice. Sometimes that's all you need as well. A moment of inspiration, a moment of brilliance, of artistry can turn a game on its head, and especially in these kind of high pressure situations, these cauldrons of cup finals. Sar's header. Sangare beaten to it by Diop in the middle. Mohamed Ali Cho fouled. Nice with the free kick just inside Lens' half of the pitch. Boudaoui. Mendy. Dante just took his eye off it for a second there. Forgive the old man. Slight lapse in concentration, especially in that kind of position under no pressure. Dante. Boudaoui. Mendy. Boudaoui again. Looking for El Yawahi. Across comes Gagnou. Sees the throw in. Find Boudaoui. Here's Klaus. Mendy. Back to Klaus. On the outside is Boudaoui. Klaus, in the way was Sangare. Now Edouard. Firm challenge from Dante. He thought he won the ball. He's pleading with the referee here, who's blown the whistle. It didn't look a foul in real time, and that's Dante's opinion. It was a thundering challenge coming in from Dante. Well, the replay shows he got a lot of the ball there. Does clean out Odsonne Edouard in the process. Scissoring motion maybe is what's caught the referee's eye. Into the final 5 minutes of this first half. Dante, no card, but a talking to from Jérôme Brissart. That's one of France's most experienced officials. As video assistant referee for the Europa League final. Oppong. Victor Dupé. Straight out of play. Udol already has the ball in his hands for Lens. Udol on the touchline. Saint-Maximin, lovely footwork. He's escaped down this left flank. Saint-Maximin, the ball back into the 6-yard box. Thauvin was ready, but as was Oppong, he puts that behind. Brilliant little shift of momentum from Alain Saint-Maximin to burst away from Antoine Mendy. It was well read in the end by Kojo Oppong. The options amassing in the penalty area. Thauvin standing over the corner kick. Swung in towards the back post. There's Edouard! Doubles Lens' lead. Odsonne Edouard, their top scorer this season, with probably his biggest goal of the season. A free header towards the far side of the penalty area leaves Dupé with no chance. Lift off for Lens. Long faces for Nice. A shake of the head for the veteran Dante. Let's have a look at it. Thauvin with the outswinger. Edouard just peeled off Koulibaly. And Oppong too rose above him. It's not the cleanest of contact. In fact, it's come off of Oppong. Off his back. Just diverts it past Dupé. It'll be credited to Odsonne Edouard, and why not? But the touch off of the back of Kojo Oppong has certainly made it that little bit more difficult for Maxime Dupé, and now it's a much longer route back for Nice. What a time to score as well for Lens, just before half-time. 43 minutes gone. It's Lens 2, Nice 0 in the Coupe de France final. Well, you could sense the energy just sucked out of the Nice bench there as that second went in the back of the net. They'd kept it tight up to the break. There's probably a chance that Nice could come back into it, and they still could. It's a much more difficult task now. Here's Elia Wahi, edge of the box. Boudaoui quickly closed down by Malang Sarr. Klaus desperately trying to win it back. Thauvin, Edouard laid it off for Sangare. He couldn't take it with him. That was a decent move for Lens, which goes up in smoke on halfway. Sarr is limping. Koulibaly. Diop, left-hand side. There's Melvin Bard for support on the left touchline. We'll use the fullback. Lead off to Koulibaly. Dante. Oppong. Diop on that left-hand side. If one man can inspire them back into life, it is Sofiane Diop. Klaus tussling with Ismail Agnew. We move into 3 minutes of added time. Well, they're in full voice now, the Lens supporters, and despite that display of defiance not long ago for the Nice fans, Risset, the long clearance. The flares have been lit again in the Nice end of the stadium. Clouds of smoke billowing out from behind Maxime Dupé's goal. It'll be an intimidating atmosphere for Lens to have their backs to in the second half, and maybe they can bring the deficit down here, Nice, as Elie Ouahi goes down just outside the penalty area. He was about to pull the trigger. Shifted across the face of the penalty area. It's Thomasson with the challenge. He's very fortunate that that isn't 6 inches deeper into his own box. It'll be a free kick rather than a penalty. Robin Risset erecting the fortifications in front of his goal. There's 5 in the wall. Nice will set up a little wall of their own, featuring Dante and Hicham Boudouai. All eyes on who will take the set piece, though. Looks like it could be Sofiane Diop. It is the Moroccan international, Diop. It's inside the D. It's a tough one to get these up and down. Diop through the wall, down low to his right. It's saved by Robin Risset. Looked like it was just sneaking in. Close to him. Might even be going wide in the end, you know. He picked that side, Risset. We'll finish this first half with a corner kick. In by Klaus towards the near post. Flicks on and all the way through. It's Djibril Koulibaly, the 17-year-old. The faintest of touches at the near post to reduce the deficit. Didn't need much of a touch, but it's a telling one from young Djibril Koulibaly. A first senior goal for the 17-year-old, and what a time he's chosen to score it, right on the stroke of half-time. And there goes the whistle from Jérôme Brissard, bringing a breathless first half of football to an end. It's been virtually an utterly dominant showing from Lens. If Claude Puel had wanted to breeze a sense of calm into that Nice dressing room before kick-off, his game plan looked like it had been utterly blown to pieces by Pierre Sarge's men. The breakthrough came in the 24th minute, a moment of quality from Thauvin, set up by Mathieu Udol. Fired it past Dupé and ignited the massive sea of red and gold behind the goal away to our right. Nice had chances. Elie Ouahi putting over an empty net. But to make matters worse for them, Lens struck just before the break. Mathieu As Tovan this time with the delivery from the corner. And Odson Edouard finish it off. And at that moment, it looked like Lens would be heading into the break with a 2-goal lead. Robin Risser's save from a free kick forced a corner right on the stroke of half-time. And Jonathan Klaus with the in-swinger at the near post found Jibril Koulibaly, the deftest of touches, a glancing blow, beat Robin Risser, and Nice are back in the game. Lens looked to be cruising, but just as the clock ticked into first half stoppage time, Regime found their response from a set piece. You can see the explosion of relief from Courtois on the touchline. Captain Dante has been rallying his troops as they head down the tunnel. The entire complexion of this final has changed in the blink of an eye. Lens still favourites, Nice though with a little flurry of fight. At the break, it's RC Lens 2, OGC Nice 1. Don't go anywhere. Second half is going to be absolutely mad. Welcome back to the Stade de France. If you are just joining us, you've missed a truly breathless first 45 minutes as they get underway for the second half. It was a half capped off by a late dramatic twist as it's blown this 109th Coupe de France final wide open. For the first 45 minutes, it was an absolute clinic from Pierre Sarge's Lens. They played with all the freedom and swagger that earned them the second place finish in Ligue 1. Florian Thauvin opened the scoring with a beautifully taken finish in the 24th minute. And when Hudson-Edouard doubled the advantage in the 41st, Les Sons et Or looked well on their way to coasting to their first ever cup trophy. But this is the Coupe de France, and drama is written into its very DNA. At the absolute stroke of half-time, with the referee's whistle practically in his mouth, Nice won a corner. The ball was whipped into the front post. Lens failed to clear, and Djibril Koulibaly glanced it home for his first ever senior goal to get it past Robin Risse. That single header has completely altered the psychological landscape of this match. As the teams walked off, the body language told the story. Claude Puel was animated, Captain Dante was rallying his troops, and suddenly the dark cloud of next week's relegation playoffs has lifted. If only for a moment, Nice have belief. The start of this second half, it's Lens 2, Nice 1. And it's Nice in possession here on halfway. An early ball forward to El Yewahi, and maybe an opportunity early on. Wahi beaten away by Risse, scooped away by Ismailo Gagnou. There's a few of those saves now from Risse. You can see why he's been picked for the French national team for the World Cup. For Lens, is Risse in goal. The back three of Sarr, Gagnou and Antonio, Udol and Abdul Hamid, the wing backs. Thomas and Sangare, the injury in midfield. Saint-Maximin Thauvin supporting Edouard, leading the line. Launched in there by Melvin Bard, the Nice left back. It's Maxime Dupé in goal for Nice. A back three of Mendy, Dante, who retires at the end of the season. Kojo Oppong. Wing backs Jonathan Klaus and Melvin Bard. Koulibaly and Boudaoui, the two midfielders, Mohamed Ali Cho and Sofiane Diop, trying to provide the ammunition for El Yewahi, and once again a wall of flares and a sea of smoke billowing out from that Nice end. A few as well in the RC Lens end too. Right start to this second half from Nice. Wahi is down. He's pointing at his boot, and you can actually see a bit of it is just been scraped off by a challenge there. He's trying to point that up to the referee. It was a challenge from Malang Sarr. His heel came down on the top of Wahi's right boot. So there's some running repairs. Well, pyrotechnics have been a feature of tonight's game, but there was a bit of a ugly build-up to the game. There were some serious clashes last night along the Saint-Martin Canal in Paris between roughly 100 Nice fans, some of which were known to have far-right links, and Paris Saint-Germain ultras. That violence resulted in 6 injuries and 65 arrests, and there's been sharp condemnation both from Nice officials and the Paris Deputy Mayor, Emmanuel Gregoire. It's an ugly side of the game that often seems to rear its head in some of the most celebratory moments. And Nice have a corner in front of their own supporters. A bit of confusion between Ismailo Gagnou and Malang Sarr there. It was off Sarr last. And there's Jonathan Klaus again towards the near post. This time it's away by Saud Abdul Hamid. Lofted back in there by Hicham Boudaoui, and the header came in from Antoine Mendy. It ended up in the gloves of Robin Risse, but it wasn't far away from the outstretched right boot of El Yewahi. Sangare. Back to Ismailo Ganyu. Udol, left-hand side. Looks long for Edouard. Drops onto the chest of Oppong. Here's Hicham Boudaoui in the centre of midfield for Nice. Now Bard. Lens win it back near halfway. Well, the open it was a big moment for the game, but also for Florian Thauvin. He's been involved in 16 goals across all competitions since the start of February. 9 goals and 7 assists. No French player has registered more in that time in Europe's big 5 leagues. If you factor in that includes the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, some of France's most recognised players, Michael Olise in that mix too. It's quite some going for the RC Lens winger, who's chasing after this long ball forward. There by Dante, picked up by Saint-Maximin, left-hand side to the edge of the box. Saint-Maximin looking for a shooting opportunity. Little back heel. Thauvin drills it. It's against Oppong. Thauvin again with another chance. Slips it through. Thomason. And Oppong sliding in to block the cutback. Here they come again, Lens. Picked up on the edge of the box. Hicham Boudaoui. That calm presence in midfield, but he's been dispossessed in his own penalty area. And that's into the side netting. From Adrien Thomasson. Boudaoui didn't get a shout from his colleagues. Turned straight into Adrien Thomasson, who had one idea, and that was to try and test Dupé. And Edouard well placed as well if he wanted to be unselfish. Long from Dupé. Mohamed Ali Cho just he's Sangare underneath the flight of it. France wins the throw in on the right hand side and takes it. It's into Eliawahi on the far side. It was dispossessed temporarily by Ismailo Ganyu, won it back, but at the expense of a throw-in. Here comes Edouard. Saint-Maximin steaming forward. Running onto it now. Abdelhamid! Tight angle, wide on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He went for goal. That's another one that skews off the outside of the boot and into the RC Lens supporters behind that Maxime Dupé's goal. It's always comfortable, the Nice goalkeeper there. Once again, sharp footwork from Alain Saint-Maximin. He just draws defenders across as he keeps the ball and keeps the ball, and eventually that opens up space for his teammates around him. This time it was Saad Abdelhamid. And Edouard to his left, if he could have got it across to probably the more natural finisher of those two. Boudaoui was caught by Thomason, who recognises this infringement there, the Lens captain. Boudaoui just kicked the underside of his boot, and Nice had the free kick inside their own half, just shy of the halfway line. They're giving it away. Here's Sarr. Thauvin. Boudaoui can't win it back. Thauvin persistent. Maximin. Saint-Maximin, I should say, on the left-hand side, sliding in. Thauvin. The challenge with Dante. He's not going to get on the end of it. Dante wears one for his team. It's on a goal kick. Well, as we mentioned, they've never won this trophy, RC Lens. Their fourth final appearance. It's the first time they've been here for almost 30 years. To go back to 1998, as this stadium was opened, the last time they appeared in the Coupe de France final. Offside flag goes up on Son Edouard. Too sure about that again from the assistant referee. Not been too many controversial decisions thus far in the Coupe de France, but we've spoken too soon. We shall see. Mendy. Klaus tries to cross from a deep position. There's the goal scorer Koulibaly rising. Away by Gagnou, another throw in for Nice, out on the far side. Food for thought for Pierre Sarge, who's on the edge of his technical area. Refers to his team's brand of football as madness. It's been a bit more composed, controlled sanity in this cup final. It's Koulibaly between the lines, little layoff to Diop. Bard on the left-hand side, back to Koulibaly. Strength, but he's wrestled with Ismaila Gagnou and concedes the foul in the right-back position. Be collected by Robin Risser. Looking for Edouard. Oppong underneath it. Chested down by Sarr in his own half of the pitch. Malang Sarr. Done really well there. Looked like he might get away from him, and now he's on the left-hand side with a bit of space. Tucks it forward towards Tovan. Dante comes across to follow it. Sarr towards the near post. There's Edouard, keeper pounces on it. Couldn't make the cleanest of contacts there, Son Edouard. Dupé could pounce. Dante taken down by Bard on the left-hand side. Now the near side from our perspective. Saud Abdelhamid guided back down the touchline by the referee. It's into Edouard. Flicks that on towards Thomason. Cleared by Oppong. Second ball collected in midfield by Saint-Maximin. Ricochet off a Nice boot. Up to the right for Saud Abdelhamid. Look for Thomason. Unable to keep that in play. Nice with the goal kick. The moment he can turn and drive at that Nice back line, Alan Saint-Maximin is a real weapon. But to call this game delicately poised would be an understatement. Nice have had plenty of chances of their own. Especially early on in the second half as well. Wahi could have drawn level. So Maximin looking for Edouard again. Clearing header by Oppong. Abdelhamid high towards the back post. So high in fact that it's another one that sails straight out to play for a goal kick. Some nervous faces behind Maxime Dupé's goal now. A throng of yellow and red. Plenty going through their paces, warming up on the touchline down below us. And from Dupé. Koulibaly. Looked for Bard, found him. He can't find a route past Abdelhamid. Sliding in on Melvin Bard was Kylian Antonio, and the free kick again goes Nice's way. An hour gone. Lens 2, Nice 1. Good anticipation from Melvin Bard. Jonathan Klaus's delivery gave them a foothold in the game in this cup final. Maybe you can reproduce the trick from this set piece. 35 yards from goal, out towards this left-hand side, just two in the wall. Klaus short, square to Boudaoui, laid off again, swung back in there by Cho. Scooped into the box, it's off the crossbar by Koulibaly. He went racing onto it while all the Lens players were just expecting that to enter in the gloves of Robin Risse. It's hit the underside of the bar, bounced down onto the line. Nice appealed to the referee. It was a hopeful little hook from the retreating Jonathan Klaus. It's Djibril Koulibaly yet again, just sneaking in there. Bard, picked up by Antonio. Here's Alan Saint-Maximin. Touch was too heavy. Boudaoui finds Wahi. Left-hand side, but stopped in his tracks by the returning Gagnou. Turned over on halfway again, though. It's Boudaoui, Koulibaly. Mendy. Laid off by Koulibaly. Through to Wahi, maybe a chance. Took it on. It's off of Antonio and behind for a corner. Elie Wahi proving to be a real handful. Just had to wait for it to come to him. At 2-0, looked like Lens were cruising to the trophy, but Nice really putting up a fight now. Is Klaus on the corner kick duties. The in-swinger knotted away by Gagnou. Saint-Maximin shrugs off Boudaoui. Switch of play. Out to Thauvin. Lens have some reinforcements prepared. Abdul Hamid back to Thauvin. Thauvin to halfway. And Antonio finds Sangare. Malang Sarr. Sarr to the left. Udol over Edouard. Bard was there for Nice. Boudaoui slipped. Thomason a little bit too overeager to poke that free. Well, here come the changes. And it's Alan Saint-Maximin who will go off. He's going to be replaced by Wesley Said. And Odsonne Edouard as well will be replaced by Abdallah Sima, the former Brighton and Hove Albion player. So they've changed their front line here, Lens. Pierre Sage, not afraid of making sweeping changes, not happy with the output of his two strikers at the start of this second half. Twelve Ligue 1 goals this season for Wesley Said. The former Toulouse forward. It's Diop. Wadi in the middle. Now in the middle, I should say, in towards the near post. Eliawahi, there is Diop. Rose well, just couldn't generate any power. It was wide as well. Good challenge from Saud Abdul Hamid, just to make sure he couldn't really get hold of that one. And here come the Nice changes. Off goes Mohamed Ali Cho. On comes Khalil Boudash, the 19-year-old. And that was Sofiane Diop's last involvement. Here comes Ali Abdi. Slight change of shape, I imagine, here now for Nice, as they send on the fullback. Boudash, much more of an attacker than Abdi. There's that je ne sais quoi about him. Appearance number 18 for the club. Scored on his introduction as a substitute against Montpellier. There's also been a change in the middle of the park as well. As Morgan Sanson has replaced the teenager and goal scorer Jibril Koulibaly, the former Aston Villa midfielder of the club 2 years ago now. On for his 45th appearance of the season. A long old season for them. Here's Mendy. Too long for Boudash. There's Udol. Inside. To Udol. Sarr. Udol. Looking straight through the middle for Dalasima, who's taken up that lone striker role from Hudson Edouard. Dante. Kojo Opong. Bard. Forward towards Ali Abdi, who's playing a much more advanced role than we were expecting him to. One of those two number 10s behind Eliawahi. Kylian Antonio has half his shirt missing. Ali Abdi wrestling with him, the Tunisian. And a big handful of Kylian Antonio's shirt. There's a section about 2 foot square around his midriff which has just disappeared. He's having to be helped out of it. Just a little pause to proceedings here as they hunt for a new shirt for Kylian Antonio. Well, they found one. Unfortunately, it's his shirt as well. The big man is in, Didier Deschamps, watching the Coupe de France final. Meets with the set piece. Here's Jonathan Klaus again with his arm up. Right-footed ball right into the middle of the Lens penalty area. Deflection of Badawi's effort. Lens will try and work it clear. They'll find Wesley Said. Now looks long. Won't reach Seema. Come out by Kyle Budash. Across the penalty area. Thauvin. Ali Abdi in the way. Shot from range. From Mamadou Sangare. And that one again will disappear into the Lens supporters. Sharon Brissard has just stopped things because he's got word from his VAR that there may be a case for a penalty here. It was Thauvin that took it down in the box. It's whether that popped up and hit and Morgan Sanson it was on the edge of the box. His arm was in a relatively natural position. It's also seemed to have rolled up his thigh onto his side and then maybe brushed the inside of his arm. And they've quickly checked it and decided there will be no penalty here. Dupé's clearance. That one on a play off of Antonio. Now fully dressed again. Some nervous faces on the RC Lens bench. It's really good from Mendy, spinning away from the pressure in the centre of the park. Dante for Sanson. Down the left-hand side, Bard will sprint after it. Bumped into the back of Saud Abdelhamid, who's hurt himself as well. He's going to be helped back to his feet by Melvin Bard. I'm sure there was no malice intended from the French wing-back. That section of turf, not quite as soft as the natural stuff. Robin Risser spots up the goal kick. Flicked on by Thauvin. Dante. Looking for Ali Abdi. Header one by Antonio. Thauvin again. Seema with the layoff. Forward by Sarr. Again, it's good defending from Antoine Mendy, the 21-year-old. Forward here to Wahi. It's clumsy from Mamadou Sangare. Thomasson. Thauvin rather tried to spear one forward. Seema's going to get across, but as is Kojo Oppong. Do my eyes deceive me, or are Lens just sticking in the game at the moment? The tempo has slowed down a bit. Nice lacking a bit of an edge in the final third, but Lens maybe just digging in. Nice will start to throw more and more bodies forward, as we suspected. There might be the opportunity for Lens to hit them on the counter. They've had a chance earlier in this second half to take a more commanding lead of this game. As it stands, just one goal in it. These fans must be scratching their heads thinking, where has this performance been all season? They've been brilliant tonight. We are ticking towards the final 15 minutes of this game. Florian Sotoka is waiting patiently on the sidelines for his introduction for Lens. Lens number 7. Dante lets Antoine Mendy deal with that one. Just cushions his header back to Dupé. Mendy. Forward. Held up by Ouahi. Looking for Kyle Boudache. Away by Gagnou. It's taken down. It's Oppong weaving his way forward. Oppong upended. Still going, Oppong. It's given the advantage by Jerome Brissard. Maybe a chance to cross here. Oppong still in the penalty area. Another threatening little move from Nice that came to nothing. We are within that final 15-minute period now. 76 minutes on the clock as Jerome Brissard points to the technical areas. We will see the former Montpellier and Grenoble forward Florian Satoka coming on. Scored in that 4-0 win over Lyon 5 days ago. Last goal in this competition back in February though. And he's going to replace the man who opened the goal scoring, Florian Thauvin. An iconic image if Lens will go on to win this. Thauvin stood in front of the Lens supporters, arms outstretched, just taking it all in. Sotoko, his replacement. Seema, is it all the way through? It is! Bundles it home, and surely that's that now for Lens. Just as we thought. It only took them one chance to finally re-establish their dominance in the game. Abdallah Seema from the bench. He's fifth of the competition to win it. It was a long ball from Malang Sarr. Dante was caught underneath the flight of it. Mendy tries to get his body across. He's knocked Seema off balance, but that won't prevent the Senegalese from getting a toe to the ball and guiding it past Maxime Dupé. It's trundled rather apologetically over the goal line as Oppong watches on in horror. A spirited fight back from Nice. But Lens, for long periods, have controlled this game. And now look set for their first ever Coupe de France title. It's a sad way for Dante to bow out of the game as well. He's just been withdrawn by Nice. So Louchet, the winger who's come on to replace him. And Melvin Barr also withdrawn. The Spaniard Kevin Carlos on to add a bit more attacking thrust to Nice, but it's probably too little too late now. With slightly more than 10 minutes left to go. Well, it's as we suspected. Lens, the runners-up of Ligue 1 this season. Nice will refuse to be beaten here as they try and create another chance. Boucher on the left-hand side. Boudaoui. Budash. Abdi. Back via Opong to Mendy. Slightly reshuffled back line now. Abdi and Klaus as the fullbacks. Mendy and Opong as the two centre-backs. Pretty much everyone else getting forward. Opong. Mendy. Klaus. Budash. Rudol pulled up for the foul. A problem for the teenager here, Kyle Budash. And stayed down. 8 minutes left of normal time. It's been a thoroughly entertaining. It's a sad sight to see Dante sat down in the technical area. 42 years old, but the child within him still present. He became a footballer for nights like this. In his glittering career, he's tasted success. Tonight, looks like it's just a little bit too far for Nice, and that's off the post. It was the new man, Kevin Carlos, rattling the woodwork. Non-supporters ready to celebrate. Waltzed away by Rissa, flicked on by Seema. Offside. Ali Abdi with the throw-in for Nice. Flicked on by Kevin Carlos. Bounces through to Elia Wahi. Worked backwards. That's an awkward one to deal with for the goalkeeper. Ismail Gagnou. Taking a few risks there. Mendy. Abdi. Cross charge down by Abdul Hamid. Still the only man on a booking tonight. Boudaoui. Opong. Mendy. Klaus with a delivery. Away by Gagnou. Smashed clear by Thomasson. Awkward ball for Opong. It's gone backwards and he's fouled this man. And just as I said, Abdul Hamid was the only one in the book. Opong's going to join him. 5 minutes remain. Unprecedented territory for RC Lens. Thomasson. Abdul Hamid. Sangare. Abdul Hamid. Sangare. Abdul Hamid, crossing opportunity. Beats Abdi to the byline, the 6-yard line. It's struggled by Saeed. Couldn't get the ball to settle. El Yawahi draws the foul. And Nice still just about alive in this one. On the left-hand side with Udol. Abdi. Wahi. Another corner. Those defiant flares return. In the Nice end. Fling himself at it. Saud Abdul Hamid did enough. Seema earns the throw-in front of the dugouts. It'll go long from Abdul Hamid. As deep into Nice territory as they can get it. Awkward off Ali Abdi. Decision goes against him as well. Another set piece for Lens. The 90th minute now. The body language tells the story of the game. Nice shoulders slumping. Lens playing with vitality. Sotoka. Sangare across the face of goal and turned behind for a corner. Sangare takes the opportunity to gee up the crowd behind that goal once more. The clock will tell you we have 20 seconds of normal time left to play. Thomasson short. Sotoka wins another corner. 90 minutes gone. We move now into added time. 5 minutes of it. 5 minutes Nice won't welcome. Five minutes you suspect Lens will take as a bit of a victory lap. Sotoka near post, little back heel, won't be a fourth. It was Ismailo Ganyu in there. Good work initially from Seema. Here comes Luche. Carlos. Shot from range. Ricochets away off of Udol. Out of play followed by Klaus. Quickly back in there to Budash. And then he sends one straight into the gloves of Robin Risser. They're not quite there yet, Lens, but they're not far away now. Sangare, edge of the centre circle. Udol. Sangare. Forward to Abdul Hamid by Antonio. Now Sotoka draws the foul. That's a tired-looking challenge from Morgan Sanson, the substitute. Shown the yellow card. Thomasson and Sotoka standing over the set piece. It's short to Thomasson. Udol on the left-hand side. Thomasson keeps it moving. Saïd sprinting after it. Edge of the penalty area. Sangare couldn't get it under his spell. Here comes Luchet. He was tugged back in the centre circle. Now the yellow cards are free-flowing from Jérôme Brissard. This time Mathieu Udol goes into the book. Into the box again. Drops for Saoud Abdul Hamid. And get that clear only as far as Oppong on halfway. Luchet. Sanson. Luchet just outside the Lens penalty area. Tried to make the most of the contact, not given the foul he was looking for. Udol with the clearance. Sanson heading back towards his own goal. Tucks it round the corner to find Oppong. The Nice bench with their heads down. Long towards Kevin Carlos. Trying to flick it on to El Yawahi. And how about that for composure from Saoud Abdul Hamid. To nod it back towards Robin Risser. The hugs, the embraces, the pats on the back have begun amongst the Lens players. The supporters holding their breath here. Anything can happen, they know that, but surely now, with less than a minute of added time to go, Sotoka is caught by Ali Abdi. Jérôme Brissard across to check on him. Lens with the free kick. They're inside Nice's half of the pitch. They're inside their half of the stadium. The supporters, the coaches, that Lens bench are ready to explode onto the pitch at the Stade de France. Claude Puel will already be thinking ahead. Seema chases after that one. Holds it up near the byline. We've played 5 minutes. All eyes on Jérôme Brissard, and there goes the final whistle. History has been written in Saint-Denis. The 109th Coupe de France belongs to Racing Club de Lens. For the first time in their 120-year history, Les Sang et Or are lifting the oldest and most storied trophy in French football. Pierre Sage told us they needed madness to win tonight, and his team delivered absolute, unadulterated ecstasy. From runners-up in Ligue 1 to Champions League qualification, and now finally the ultimate piece of domestic silverware. The ghosts of 1998 are officially banished. But goodness me, didn't Nice give us a hell of a fight? When Djibril Koulibaly poked that ball home at the near post on the stroke of half-time, it felt like Claude Puel's men had pulled off the ultimate psychological rope-a-dope. They came out for the second half with fire in their bellies. For 30 minutes they pushed, they probed, and 42-year-old Dante defended like a man possessed, trying to drag his club toward a fairy tale finish in the final week of his career. But as Nice threw caution to the wind, they left the back door wide open, and in the 77th minute the killer blow arrived. A lightning-fast Lens counter-attack, a long ball over the top, and Abdallah Sima, the ultimate cup specialist, absolutely outmuscled Antoine Mendy. He bullied him off the ball, left him in a heap, and with pure predatory instinct, toe-poked it past Maxime Dupé to break Nice hearts and spark absolute pandemonium in the stands. The scenes on the pitch are something to behold. 21-year-old Robin Risser is on his knees, goalkeeper of the season, a World Cup call-up, and now a French Cup champion. Pierre Sarge just standing on the touchline, soaking this all in. One day it'll sink in what he's produced with this club this season. The red and gold ticker tape is ready to fly through this Parisian night sky. But spare a thought for Nice. Scenes of absolute devastation out there. They left everything on this pitch, but the mountain, it was just too high. And the heartbreaking reality for Legume is they don't even have time to cry. In just 4 days' time, they have to shake off this heartbreak, leave Paris behind, and travel to Saint-Etienne for the relegation playoff fight of their lives. But tonight belongs to the history makers. 3 times a bridesmaid, but never, ever again. Final score at the Stade de France. It's finished. Racing Club Lens 3, OGC Nice 1. Lens are the champions. Have a very good night.